Hey, James,
Now I
can we
think it's
trade?
working. One domain, two domains? Yes, it's working. Okay, thank you, Tess. Thank you, Helmut, for inviting me here today. It's a big honor to be here and incredible to see how this event has grown over such a short time. I know you've been working incredibly hard for this, Helmut. So congratulations. It's really amazing, and I hear so many positive things already. So very excited to be here. Thank you, and thank you, Tess, for taking the time to talk to me.
Of course, it's such a delight. Yes. Who in this room knows Lars?
Helmut. Helmut knows me.
Well, that's a relief. Yeah. Well, I feel you have been in the industry since
99.
the 90s. Yeah. I feel you are so important to meet and spend time with. And I'm really curious to learn a lot more about you from this fireside chat. Do you want to begin with a background? I don't know if you want to go before 99, a little of where you grew up or your business background before, or we can start in 1999. You pick.
Yeah, I think for this audience, 99 is the year where it becomes relevant. Well, I'm Danish. I'm living in Luxembourg. I've been in the domain business, as you said, since 99. I started with a company which back then was called Speed Names, which was a true pioneer in the domain business in Europe, especially focusing on ccTLDs. It was really the first online platform where you could get more than just the local TLD or surrounding geographical TLDs, but also get like global TLDs. I think already in 2000, we had more than 150 extensions on, which was very unique. This was a retail business, and we developed that into a reseller business, which became ShortDot, which some of you may know. Today is part of Tucows. I served as COO there for 4 years, almost 5 years, and was part of building that company up from scratch. Basically, I was like number 2 or 3 employee. 3 years later, we were 120 people scattered around the world with more than 5,000 resellers and so forth. We were really pioneering on ccTLDs. I had some fun memories building that up. Me and colleague Jesper, it was very old school the way we did it. We were really traveling around Germany, visiting one ISP or local telco hosting provider one by one. And most of them would say, we don't want to sell ccTLDs. We don't need that. Nobody wants to buy that. We came back a year later, same pitch, better technology. And with the years, we signed them up and started a really good ccTLD business.
You were driving across Germany year after year?
Literally old school, yeah. We're calling them up, finding the right people to talk to through the reception, setting up meetings and meeting up at the local office. So
no LinkedIn?
Sorry?
No LinkedIn to help?
No, it was the early days of LinkedIn, but not a lot of these people were on LinkedIn. But that started helping, actually. LinkedIn helped us to grow, I would say, as well. It's actually an interesting point. When we discovered LinkedIn ourselves and we saw how other people from other countries, it definitely helped us to become a global company in that time.
Interesting. Now, so you said you were one of the first, or maybe the first. How, sometimes you don't know if an idea is brilliant or dumb. How did you know? And, these ISPs telling you, no, we don't need that, turning that into a company that grew so much that it was acquired by Tucows. How did you know?
Well, I don't know that we were sure of it at that point, I would say, but we could, of course, see a clear need that trademarks holders and other companies that was even just trading in Europe and the internet was growing fast. We could see that there was a big need for protection, first of all, right? Because if you were being a successful e-commerce or search engine or anything else, or just company in Denmark, you would fast have to protect yourself in the surrounding countries around Denmark. But then what about Spain, Italy, other countries and so forward? And we're also starting to see a lot of great opportunities with it, right? So it was not just about protection, but also that companies where it used to be a lot of work, you could say, to get into a new market, this opened up new markets for them easily by they could have their local domain name in Italy, for example, right? They become Italian. All of a sudden, they would have to translate the website into Italian. All of a sudden, they could attack the Italian market. So it opened up a lot of opportunities as well. And that, I think, was also what started the growth of ccTLDs more than anything else. So that today that you can go to any retail provider today and buy more than 100 ccTLDs, which nobody thought at that point, because why would an SME or startup go and register hundreds of names? But that's how it is today.
Yeah, it sounds like you really saw being in Denmark, seeing the proximity and businesses growing, and you connected those dots of what will they need next. And that's a great question to answer really in any entrepreneurship. What will they need next?
Yes, very important. Agree on that.
Have you ever had a reunion with these employees?
Yes, we meet quite often, some of us, at the ICANNs, the people that are still in the industry, which is actually quite a lot. And a funny story, like last year at the domain balls, I think we were like 3 or 4 people from the old management team. We got together, went out and had a few beers, of course. And we started counting how many companies were actually built by ex-employees out of Speed Names ShortDot, and counted more than 20 companies that had been built from ex-employees, team members of the ShortDot company. So very entrepreneurial environment, you could say.
20 plus, that's incredible.
Yep.
And it does speak to the entrepreneurial perspective and attitude, and it sounds like quite a bit of collaboration in thinking things through as well.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the great things about the domain industry. I don't know how many entrepreneurs we have in this room, but I think there's quite a lot. And any conference we go to with the domains, there's a big part are entrepreneurs, and still this very entrepreneurial spirit in the business. And also funny by that reunion, very often funny, is that several of us have become what you normally would say competitors over the years, but we are still very good friends. We still cooperate. We sell and exchange services to each other and help each other to build new businesses. So I think that's a great thing about the domain business, for sure.
Yeah, that's quite unique to our industry.
Absolutely. I think it's very unique. I did leave the domain industry for a few years. I tried to, I would say, like I've seen many others, but was drawn back in again. I personally don't think that there is, I've not seen it at least, any industry where people are so nice, respectful to each other, competing, as I said, but cooperating at the same time, respecting each other's products, learning from each other, which I also think we just saw a very nice presentation from Joe here, and I learned something, being a registry operator as well from him. So thank you, Joe, wherever you're sitting. And I think that's great, that's unique, and I hope we can continue that spirit.
I think so. I think when we tell stories like yours and recognize specifically what's built the culture of this industry, it helps to carry that on to newcomers and to see and set that example. You have any other thoughts on what makes the domain industry so special?
I think, yes, the foundation for that was built in those early days because it was a lot of small companies. Very interesting. I think everybody thought back then, that was what we were saying at board meetings every time our venture partner said, we need to go and close the contracts with the telcos. We did close contract with, for example, Swisscom. They bought a full ccTLD platform for us. We were 100% sure that they would take over the Swiss market, right? That they would be the hosting provider, the domain provider in Switzerland. And 3 years later, we basically bought it back from them. They gave us it back because they didn't want to have anything to do with it. And if you look at the structure in Europe today, the case is in 90% of the countries that it's not the local telco that is running the domain business. It is companies that was built from scratch. Of course, telcos was at one point as well, but that's a few, almost 100 years ago, not a few 100 years, but 100 years ago. Whereas the domain registrars were really built in the late 90s, early 2000s by entrepreneurs. And many people, and of course tech people, engineers, entrepreneurs as well, but mostly I would say engineers, that had a vision about and understood this infrastructure. And the way it's built, it was easy. It enabled small companies to compete as well, right? So we have, when we go to conferences, you know that as well, we are sitting in the same room, companies that have 10 million clients, having dinner with people, the owner that has a few thousand clients maybe. So it's really a big mix, and everybody come together, and if you would not know, I think you would not assume that this guy next to you has actually this company and so forth. So everybody's is quite eager, and I think that's very special.
Yeah, in Hamburg at ICANN, one of the introductory talks, maybe the interim president started out saying the internet is built on trust. And I think what I'm hearing from you is much of the same, that meeting people, small companies, trying to make the internet work, we trusted that there was a positive plan and that coming together and building an internet would create a future. And it sounds like you really saw that, especially looking ISP after ISP in the eye and speaking with them. Do you feel like you had to build a lot of trust for them to understand your crazy idea that ccTLDs would be used by people in more than one country?
Yes, definitely. It takes time to build that trust, of course, but it also takes time to build the opportunity for them, right? So you need to show the opportunity, you need to showcase it. But yes, it's also, as Joe said, he's been in the business for 24 years now. I think it was 24 years, right? I've only been in 23 now, I think 24 coming. So, and many of us have worked together for literally 20 years plus now. And of course, that creates a lot of trust as well.
It does. How many entrepreneurs are in the room? Okay. Yeah.
How many did not raise their hand, but are?
That's the real question. This is why Lars gets ahead. Yeah. Well done. Okay.
Well, Werner is also, but he didn't raise his hand.
Let's talk about ShortDot. What that's your current primary attention is at ShortDot, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. ShortDot is a registry. We run 5 extensions. We own and run 5 extensions. We founded ShortDot in 2017. And in 2018, we launched .icu. After going through the whole process of getting the ICANN approval, we actually acquired .icu from the one.com group, which was sold to us by Thomas, who is sitting here somewhere. He's also an entrepreneur, so he didn't raise his hand either, I guess. But Thomas actually managed to sell .icu. So Thomas was actually the person and for one.com group that applied for .icu back in 2012 when ICANN started the first round. We were not, ShortDot were not around back then. We were still working most of us in the registrar business. So Thomas sold that to us, and we went through a process of transferring that domain .icu to ShortDot, and we launched that in 2018.
Okay, so you met Thomas back then, launched .icu in 2018, that was your first, and then you have 4 additional extensions?
Correct, yes. We have been so fortunate, I would say, that after the launch with .icu, where we learned a lot, good and bad, it was really our first extension. There was actually nobody in the team that ever launched an extension before, so it was really new ground for us. Of course, we've been working on the other side many years. We learned a lot there, but it is still launching the first extension is quite a big thing and very interesting and a lot of fun. I can recommend it to anybody. So back to that, we were very lucky. We've been lucky and been able to acquire another 4 extensions, .bond, .cu, .sbs, and .cfd since then. And are working with registrars, ICANN accredited registrars around the world today. So yeah.
Excellent. Why did you want to start a registry?
Well, a little bit back to the many years in the registrar business, which I still like and love, many incredible memories from that period. But it's always interesting when you're on one side and you see how a registry operates. Joe said kind of the same thing. You always think, oh, maybe I could do this better, maybe I could change that, maybe I could do that, because you actually come as a client, right? So you come into this project being a client or a partner of a registry for so many years, you build a lot of ideas. And also the potential, of course. We saw huge potential, we still do, in being a registry operator. You build a very big, strong channel with some very strong partners. We have very close cooperation with Alibaba in China, GMO in Japan that has 80% of the internet market in Japan, GoDaddy in the US, Ionos in Germany, and all of those are very close cooperation partners, of resellers of ours basically today. So getting on the other side, I would say, was one of it. And then it leaves so much to you, to your creativity, right? We have taken some, you could say, a little bit different approach to this, creative approach, innovative approach. We believe very much in short and easy to remember domain names. And that's why we acquired these very short, as you can see, and also the name of the company, ShortDot, right? And giving each of them their own identity. That's what we've been working on the last 5 years, 6 years, and still are every day. So.
Okay, so ShortDot, is it as apparent as it seems, or is there anything further to the name?
Nope, that's ShortDot.
Short and to the point. Yeah. And you said, giving each of them their identity. And I really noticed going to, I went to SBS to check, like that was one I didn't know about. And I was so struck by how clearly the use case is written out for why would I want this? What would this signal if I owned this? Mm-hmm. I think that's a real strength for you folks.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the approach from day one is as you said, and as I said, short, but giving it a strong brand. We believe that a short domain name and easy to remember is the most important thing about a domain. And that's the road that we will continue for sure.
Well done. What did it take to start a registry?
Well, it takes for a registry to run an ICANN domain, you need to be approved by ICANN first. That's the first step. And right now the situation is you need to acquire one, or you can wait till 2026. I think there was a session earlier today about, I was not here unfortunately, but there's a next round coming now, we all know that. So you can apply for that in 2026, and we will do that. We will also apply for additional extensions, that's for sure.
Any thoughts you're going to share with your 200 closest friends?
Nope. Maybe later this evening in the bar.
Noted. Truly, anything on like trends? We hear a lot that probably blockchain and brands will be the biggest in the next round. Do you think that's accurate?
I'm sure blockchain will be a big thing. I think whole Web3 space terms will be a big thing. No doubt about that. We've already seen that. Brands as well. I think we will see that in a different approach. We will try to work with some brands in a different approach. We've already been approached also by some organizations with different approaches to that. So yeah. But trends, I think it's too early to say because we have not seen the applications yet. I think we'll only really see trends. We will probably stick to one trend, which is short.
Well played, to know who you are and what you specialize in. So speaking of Web3, that reminds me of some of your joint ventures. And despite all the companies that you and your former colleagues have founded, you're not even counting in that group your joint ventures. So I'd love to talk about some of your specific joint ventures now, and also your advice about joint ventures, your learnings and wisdom in that area. You want to start with NameBlock?
Definitely. Well, let me start with what you said about the advice our thinking, why joint ventures. We believe as a registry that as a registry and a registrar hosting providers, there's basically three very simple things you need to think about as an owner or C-level or manager or any team member, is to get more new clients every day, get a higher transaction fee per client, and keep the client for as long or longer than you do today. If you do that every day, increase that every day, you're a growing company. Right?
Okay, let's do that again. More new clients.
More new clients, higher transaction fee per client,
Okay.
longer retention on the client.
Okay, higher transaction fees, longer retention. Got
Yeah,
it.
company is growing, right?
It's a great
That's
recipe.
what we all want to do every day. And I don't think that just counts for our business or industry, that's for any business. Very basic, but a good thing to keep in mind and easy to bring to your team members, saying, hey, guys, this is what we work on. You identify a problem or opportunity for your clients that hasn't been solved the way that you think it can be solved yet. And then you can think about, of course, okay, in our case, we launched a ShortBlock, which is a very traditional blocking product. You have a trademark and you can come in and say, okay, I am Taylor Swift and I have a trademark on that. And now I want to block that in all these extensions. Done. That's been around for a long time, right? Good product, nothing wrong with that. We launched that ourselves. So I can't say anything bad about it. And it is really a good product. But being an entrepreneur, most of you here also, engineers and entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call it, we get new ideas all the time, right? And then you go and register the domain, and then you think about, oh, should I also register? Let's say you have Tess, you want to start your financial advising service, right? So you go and get the Tess.bond, right? And now you start thinking, hey, should I also register Tess Financial? Should I register this? Should I register that? What if my neighbor, if she knows, gets to hear about and she will get Tess something else.bond? But you're not a big corporate, right? You don't have a trademark and you don't have a big corporate company like Monitor or CSC that will help you to make a strategy around this and do all of that and spend $30,000 on doing that. But you still have the same need, right? And you have a great idea. And we want to help you to protect that idea and that opportunity that you're creating from abuse, but also to create more opportunities for you again. So what happens in NameBlock? We founded a company based on that idea, saying, okay, but we did not necessarily have the experience ourselves to build a backend that could do that, the data that was needed for that, and so forward. But we were using a company called IQ Global for our abuse monitoring. Some of you might know that. They scan about 200 million domain names every day to see if there's any abuse going on. So they have the real data on what is used for abuse and what is used can still be registered and used for opportunities. So they have all these data. Plus they have the developers that did this. I know these guys for many years as well, so good friends, like it very often is here in our amazing industry. And I pitched the idea to Rolf, who is the chairman in that company as well. And literally an hour later, we registered nameblock.com. And that was at the Nordic Domain Days in Stockholm, a little bit more than 2 years ago. And we then put those two teams together with the vision that we had, the channel that we have, working with the registrars around the globe, and their technology and their, I would say, engineering experience that we did not. And we are now mid this year, it is May, we launched really NameBlock. We have two products in NameBlock. One is called BrandLock, which is really the traditional, I would say, old school blocking. You are trademark, you want to block extension by extension by extension by extension, you do that, fine. And then we have the new innovative product, which is Abuse Shield, which is really a checkout product. Imagine, as I said, you go to Dynadot and register Tess.bond. And during that checkout process, it will tell you, Tess, do you want to add Abuse Shield to your .bond name, to Tess.bond? And it will show you all these names, good and bad ones, that it will block for you, right? So, and checkout products are amazing to do exactly what we started out talking about, right? Creating higher transaction fee per client, keeping them for a longer time, attracting new clients. So this is what Abuse Shield also will do for our registrars, but also protect the end client. So one of the challenges we have always with checkout products is the end client. SSL certificate, I think, is a great example. Most of you here will know what it does and how it works and all of that, but I think that 90%, maybe I'm being a bit high, but 90% of all end users that are buying an SSL certificate actually don't really know what it does. And our percentage to it is probably much higher. Here, it's easy for us to show, because imagine you're actually seeing, I don't have a presentation, but you can see it on the website named blog.com. You can see it there, live exams. And if any of you want a sandbox access so you can try it out, actually you can get that as well, because we have a web interface dashboard where you can try it out. But it will show the end client, this is what you get, right? And it's a product that will be sold in the market now. It's already sold for around $100, $150. So it's something that a startup, per extension, of course, but it's something that a startup or even an individual or organization can really afford. We are, of course, applying the same business logic that we all love in the registrar, the hosting business, setup fee and yearly renewal. So we're also creating a very important new revenue stream for our partners with this. Yeah.
That's really smart. I see clearly the revenue stream, but also the use cases are very attentive and recognizing. So the traditional blocks, like name block that you're describing, are quite lucrative. I'll be frank. I've sold so many, I've bought a car and then some.
We just got an order in from Taylor Swift last week when we launched. So yes, they are. And it's not, there's nothing bad with that. It is an easier way for them to protect the name than doing defensive registrations.
Yeah.
And the registrars love this as well. It's a good product for them to sell. So yeah.
Yeah, you're right. The registrars love it too. Besides the commissions we make off of it, but there's also then that much less abuse that they need to manage, because big brands like Taylor Swift have proactively blocked those off. So they have something clear. It's a win-win for everyone. But you noticed the little guy also and built a different product for them. And that's a brilliant joint venture moment to bring that together. Oh.
Yeah, and it's great. Again, as I said, it's really been built with friends that we work with over years. They were a supplier to us, so we knew what they knew us. And again, it's also amazing to see when you bring two so different teams, quite different teams actually, together. We are around the globe, some Norway, France, US, China, and everywhere. And you start putting those two teams together with one objective. It's amazing to see how fast things can be built. And how many great ideas. And the network, when you put 10 people together like this, that we've done, we took 5 people basically from each team and put into this, how fast you can move the business, because everybody have different networks. And that counts so much in our business, of course, that we can contact this registrar, we can contact this registry, we know a guy there, and all of that just moves things so much faster.
Next year, I think you should give a talk here about maximizing when you integrate global teams, how to maximize momentum, network. That sounds incredible.
I will probably have learned a lot from our mistakes by then, yeah. So I'm happy to do that.
Take notes. Inquiring minds want to know. Tell us about the Web United joint venture.
Yeah, Web United. I would say similar story, a little bit more strategic maybe than just by own ideas. We believe very strong that Web3 is here. I personally also see a lot of great things about the blockchain that can be used, and I think the next generations to come will use it for much more than what we can even imagine right now. And so we did decide, I would say in this case, saying, hey, we want to be we need to, as a registry, to be future safe, you could say. We need to be part of the Web3 space. And again, we all have like 20 years or 15 years experience in the Web2 space, but 0 at that point. Now we're building it every day. Experience in blockchain, Web3. So starting off hiring people that has that, getting to understand it and all of that would take tremendous time for us to get where we want to. And at that time, I was that was also at the Nordic Domain Days where I met David, who is the founder and CEO of a Web3 registrar called Freename. They also recently became ICANN accredited, actually. And we started talking. I told him how we were thinking, because we like the idea of Web3 and blockchain, but we don't like the idea of this complete decentralized, non-controlled, non-regulated space. I don't think we've seen any of that succeed anywhere in any other industry. I think that there needs to be some control, cooperation with authorities, and all of that. I mean, what we've seen in the basically, sorry if I'm talking too much, but basically what we've seen in, I guess that's why I'm here, is to talk. I guess my thinking is what we've seen in the Web2 space with the authorities, ICANNs and others, no matter what you say, they've, in my opinion, done a great job, right? I've never woken up one single morning and the internet was down, was gone, right? And there's been some issues, we've had some hiccups and everything, but everything's been super stable. It's been working, it still is, right? So no matter what, take that use case, use the best from that and put that into the Web3 space. I think is super interesting. And I told David about that, and because that could be some of the people from the Web3 space that we met with do not believe that. They have a different approach to it. They say, yeah, it needs to be decentralized, no information to authorities, all of that. That's why it is blockchain. Okay, yeah, still working. So we found common ground, I would say. Okay, and we have a lot of experience in the Web2. So, and we have the channel. Again, they had the technology, the knowledge to build. So we started forming this product and service together over the last, well, 1.5 years that's been now. And right now we're integrating, we are almost finished. Within the next 2 weeks, we will send out a PR and the first large registrar will go live with the Web United product, which will be a mirroring of existing Web2 domains into the blockchain. So just very short, if you today own bot.com, you will be able to get a mirroring in the blockchain of your bot.com, but you need to be the owner or the manager of bot.com.
So I don't have to figure out whatever currency is needed. I don't have to create my own account on whatever blockchains. All I will have to do is go to your new partner registrar, register bob.com, and then I can add in the cart or in the interface this offering, and then I will have that in specific blockchain extensions as well.
Absolutely, that's correct. It of course also you can be an existing client, which again speaks to a big opportunity. If you are a registrar with 1 million clients or 1 million domains under management, and now you have a new service, the price will be more or less approximately the same as the retail for a Web2 domain. And now you can offer this new service to your client. And we will, in addition on that as Web United, we will also, because one of the challenges besides the whole, which we just talked a little bit about policies and all of that, we're not going into details on that, but you can go to webunited.com as well and see more about that. And again, Web United is not just for ICANN accredited registrars. Any reseller or hosting company can sign up for this as well and offer it to the end client. We're not selling directly, no retail, again, through partners. So, yeah.
You're such a thoughtful, even worrying you were talking too much when it's your fireside. But I think a real key to your success is listening to others, seeing the positive. One little nugget I heard you say, I'm going to change the words, but about the good things about the centralization, not the centralization of ICANN, et cetera. And then, growing from there, there's a saying, take what you like and leave the rest. And I see you doing that in many of your decisions, in your joint ventures, in your entrepreneurship. You just look at the positive and stay focused without getting distracted. Do you have any further secrets on that? Or otherwise, I just want to highlight, I'm hearing you say that, and I think it's really valuable.
Well, I never thought about that way that you're saying it, but that's probably true, right? If you overthink, then you don't get things done, because they can always, I think Web3 is one of these things, as you said, right? Hey, is it dangerous? What is it? And all of that. And we just, okay, let's find a way to do it, right? If you have that attitude and you get your team with it and you show the opportunity to the team, then I think you can get it done. So and we are running way over time, I think.
Yeah, do you have any closing remarks? That's my next bullet point.
No, I think that, just the last joint venture, Thomas will be presenting that tomorrow.
Stand up,
Is-
Thomas.
Is Nikki, or later today at the bar as well, who will be presenting it as well, I think. But drop by, we have a booth in here. You can actually get a t-shirt with a unique QR code, which will lead you to your private Nikki or a bracelet as well. Nikki is about making digital assets move easy between two different individuals or organizations. But I will leave to Thomas tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Lars. We're going to have a coffee break next. But first, a good round of applause for Lars Jensen.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for the patience for listening.